Marvin wasn't very old before he understood that. It wasn't simply that my father beat me, that was bad enough. He'd shout, "Boy, you're going to get a whipping." Then he'd tell me to take off my clothes and he would send me to the bedroom. Just so I'd wait. It would have been so awful if he would just hit me right away, but he'd tell me to take off my clothes and go to the bedroom. "Take off your clothes, stay in the bedroom, coming in there." And then, you know, hitting people on the butt, hitting them on the butt. "Take off your clothes, I'm going to be there in a minute." There's some weird sexual perversion with all this shit. You're hitting a child in the butt during their most sexually, that's where they interpret the entire world. That's where their sexuality is popping out, and you're going to go ahead and mess with that. You know, that's sick. Daddy Marvin's going to say, "Go in the other room, take off your clothes, and wait for me in the bedroom." That's sick. He's also a cross-dresser. Marvin Daddy was a cross-dresser. But Father, he liked mind games. He'd play with me. He'd make me wait an hour. Staying there for an hour. Even more. All the while jangling his belt buckle loud enough to hear. Staying in there and just hearing. Just psychologically. Talk about tormenting. Talk about, you know, tormenting. Torture. Oppression. Humiliation. Just unbearable oppression. When he finally struck me, I knew, and children know these things, that something inside of him enjoyed the whole thing. He liked doing it. He liked doing it. Now, a person who is beating a child, a person who's into child abuse, the only pleasure that they get from the child is when they hit them. When they hurt that child, that gives them pleasure. So their pain gives, for a child abuser, the child's pain is what they get pleasure out of. Breaking that child's will, making them blubber and cry on and on and on. That's fucked up. There's something really fucked up. I used to have a joke. It's a bad joke, but it makes you think about something. I just felt like there's just this between me and the guy who abused me my whole life, the psychopath, Nazi, borderline, dysphoric borderline. You know, he was a psycho. What was he talking about? The psycho, how he enjoyed. Oh yeah. So, you know, when he would hit us, there's like such a disconnect between him and I. You know, he would just get pleasure off of just hurting me. He saw I was in pain. They liked it. They think that's what brings them happiness, when they see that their kids are miserable. When they hurt them and when they were able to inflict that punishment on them. But what am I saying? Oh yeah, there's such a disconnect. I was saying, well, hell, maybe if he did actually, because there wasn't any molestation in my upbringing. There was no molestation. There's I don't know, afterwards of me getting beat up, they would both hug on me as if like, "Oh, we're sorry we had to do that to you." At different intervals, different times. My mother would hug me the most, but the old man would just do it right after he just finished hitting me, and I don't know. It felt really weird. My mom would hold me, but it just seemed really sick. It seemed really weird. You just watched me get beat up, and now you're holding me as if you love me. You can't say that you love me. You can't say that you don't protect my safety. Maslow's hierarchy, safety is one of the things on the bottom in order that you need to live. You need safety so you can have love, and then you need love so you can get self-esteem. Without safety, you don't get love, you don't get self-esteem. That's Maslow's hierarchy, and I never had safety. I had never been, for the first 17 years of my life, I was terrorized. I was terrorized. Still terrorized today. Not as direct. It's not as a direct effect. But it persists. And especially with this recent court proceedings a couple months ago. They just like reopening all these wounds. And I deserve a right to not ever have to see my abuser ever again. Just like a person who got raped, they don't want to see the person that raped them. Just like somebody, you know, any crime of any type of, I mean, I don't want to see that person again. And I have a right to protect myself, and this person's been a psycho my whole life. I have a right to not have that motherfucker in my life. And I'm in a whole nother county, I'm in a whole nother place. I don't go up there. I don't see how they can I don't see how they can agree to any type of restraining order on me. I'm not the psycho. I'm not the one that beat him up. I didn't hit him 5,000 times. I didn't take a golf club to his face. I didn't make him a bitch-ass slave for 17 years, making him pull all my fucking corn and all my tobacco, making him be my bitch. You know, that would be justice. An eye for an eye, that's justice. Make him do a shitload of my work, make me rich, and then when I get my money, make sure, you know, he's broken and no one's around him, make sure he's isolated in the middle of nowhere. But see, that'll never happen, right? He's an adult, he's got friends, he's got lawyers, and he's got money. And the idea of smashing and mutilating a child's soul. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Gent, Kentucky, on this farm, in the middle of nowhere. Just my mother's the only person that's watching any of this. And does she speak up about it? Does she say it's wrong? No. She don't speak up. She's the reason why it all is being hidden. Well, if he is such a bad man, then why would she stay with him? Because she likes the abuse. She likes hitting, and she likes getting hit. She likes knowing exactly where her place is. She likes understanding, you know, do what Big Daddy says. Daddy says shut up, then you shut up. Daddy says go cook that, you go cook it. But she can't say she's a moral person. You go ahead and be obedient. You go ahead and be obedient. But you can't say that you didn't do me right. It's sick. It's sickening, because instead of actually admitting that these bad things had happened and for them to go through a healing process and to discover some of these feelings, instead they'd rather put their hatred on me. These are hate-filled psychopaths. And instead of saying, wow, I got injured by this person, so I should hate that person, instead they're going to say, how dare you say anything about me. It makes me think about Naomi yelling at Ashley, don't you say anything bad about my daddy. Don't you tell him any bad thing about my daddy. Don't you tell bad things about me to my daddy. Well, why not? Why can't I tell you bad things about you? I mean, who gives a crap? I mean, if you got such a good relationship, why you gotta lie? Why you gotta lie? Or maybe daddy was beating her too. I don't know. So Marvin Gaye's father is the antithesis of the macho stereotype of an abusive man. He was trim and effeminate, and he dressed in women's clothes. He'd wear their wigs and their blouses. So Daddy Marvin Gaye wasn't exactly, he wasn't a man's man, you know. He was a man's man to his little baby boy and his wife. He'd smack them around like there was nothing, but for, you know, for himself and his own sexuality, he liked the blouses and the wigs, and he liked the women's clothing. After giving the gift of a brand new Cadillac, when asked if his father was grateful, Marvin Gaye responded, nah, not especially. Not really. Dad didn't like the brand new Cadillac he got him. He bought his parents a house in 1983, moved back in there because he had some financial issues he needed to deal with. And this only exaggerated a long-standing hostility between the two of them. At Christmas time in 1983, Marvin Gaye gave his father a handgun, unregistered .38 caliber Smith & Wesson. There was so much tension. Daddy Marvin told his daughter Janine, if he touches me, I'll kill him. So he bragged about it. He talked about it several times. Made the threat publicly, more than one occasion. So March 31st, 1984, Marvin Sr. is angered because they were unable to find a document concerning the insurance policy. He stormed around the house and yelled at his wife, Alberta, whom he blamed for losing the document. Marvin Sr. is still angry when he woke the next day, Sunday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, the day before Marvin Gaye's 45th birthday. So right before Marvin Gaye turns 45, Daddy Gaye, about 11 a.m., hollered up the stairs at Alberta Gaye, Marvin Gaye's mother, who was in Marvin Gaye's bedroom. And Marvin Gaye went to the top of the stairs, hollered back that Senior should speak to Alberta's face if he had something to say. Don't be yelling at her all the way from down there. You come up here, say it to her face. All right, Daddy Gaye, you wanna be all big and bad, Daddy Gaye? So Daddy Gaye hurried up the steps and he entered his son's room. Marvin Gaye leaped off the bed and he pushed 70-year-old father into the hallway, knocking him down and then kicking him. Alberta interceded and the men separated. Then Marvin Gaye returned to his bed. Daddy Gay got up and he went down the hall to his own bedroom. After a few moments, Daddy Gay returned to Marvin Gaye, the superstar's threshold, right inside his bedroom. Daddy Gay raised a hand towards his son, and Alberta could see that he was holding a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol that Marvin Gaye had given him on Christmas. Daddy Gay pulled the trigger, and he shot his own son in the chest. Daddy Gay pulled the trigger, shot his son, pulled right in the chest, and went through Marvin Gaye, the superstar's heart. Daddy Gay shot Marvin Gaye right through the heart. And Marvin Gaye slumped off to the bed and to the floor. And Daddy Gay strode forward, and he shot Marvin Gaye again. So Daddy Gay went ahead and shot the superstar. Killed him, shot him right in the heart, kills him right at the beginning, and then walks again and shoots him again. He'll say it's self-defense later on, but he left the situation. It was at the top of the stairs. He goes downstairs, gets the gun, comes back up. So it was unnecessary. The second shot was unnecessary. Daddy Gay murdered his own son, his own flesh and blood, man that carried his own name, made it into a household name all across America. Daddy Gay shot his own son twice at point-blank range with .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver on a Sunday morning.